ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections: the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com, the gateway to the magic. Very excited for today's show. We're going to have a trip report from longtime listeners, Brittany and Derek Eichelman. Guys, thanks for joining me on the show.
Hi, Tim.
Hey,
thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, you probably know, before we get into your actual trip report, I need to know, what is your Disney story? Like, who was the first Disney fan? What kind of Disney fans are you?
Guilty. I'm the huge Disney fan. I grew up going to Disney with my parents, and my parents are actually DVC members, so we grew up going there sometimes multiple times a year. And then I ended up doing the Disney College program in 2012, and later on met my husband Derek, who's with me today, and then we got engaged in Disney in 2016 and have since been married.
Derek, good move.
Well, it was funny. I pulled the impossible. I did the engagement in front of the castle and no one saw it.
It was pretty incredible.
Wow. Did you think it was coming, Brittany?
I had no idea.
Oh.
And it's really sad. You know how you have those moments where you're just so overwhelmed and you black out? That totally happened to me, and I do not even remember our engagement.
Oh. So how long have you been married now since then?
It will be 3 years in June.
Oh, you're still newlyweds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So what kind of a college program stuff did you do?
So I worked at the Magic Kingdom in merchandise. I worked at the Main Street Emporium.
Oh, probably the busiest place in the Magic Kingdom.
Very, very busy. I worked super crazy hours. My latest shift went till 4 a.m. because the store, it actually takes a full 2 hours to close the store down after the park closes.
Does it take so long because people are clutching to the racks, or why does it take so long?
Well, so the store stays open an hour after the park closes. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of waiting for people to finish shopping, and then you have to actually close the store and clean, restock, all of that.
Is it unusual to go there now as a guest after you worked there for so long?
I thought it would be kind of weird because I know so much more now that I've been a cast member, but I still love it, and it's unique because now I have this unique perspective as a former cast member, and it makes me appreciate it a lot more than before.
Do you ever pull one of the cast members aside in there and go, you're doing this wrong?
It's funny, every time I go into the Emporium or any place in Disney that has plush stuffed animals, I kind of want to refresh the plush wall and fix all the Mickey Mouses.
See? They'll just let you do it, and they're like, she used to do this. She knows.
Right.
All right, so you guys became DVC members. Brittany, was it you that brought up the idea, or how'd you guys decide to actually become DVC members and then make the jump?
Yeah, well, I've been bugging Derek for years, pretty much. I mean, even before we got married, I was like, I want to be a DVC member one day. And we had been saving up for it for a while, and Derek finally, I think, caved and agreed that we would do it.
I mean, I could have gotten you the sticker for $5.
He's looking at Etsy.
So this year was my 30th birthday, and so after saving up for a while, we finally pulled the trigger. And so now our home resort is Copper Creek.
Oh, I was going to ask.
Wilderness Lodge.
Derek, are you all in on Disney, or are you? Has she pulled you into the dark side?
I had been once before we met, and now we've been 7 times, roughly.
Yeah, about probably.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah.
And you enjoy it?
No, I like it now. I just never really been.
Gotcha. Had to get the standing friction going.
Right.
Did you get yours direct? Did you get a resale? How'd you go about doing it?
Yeah, we bought it direct.
What kind of kiosk did you go to? Where'd you, how'd you end up doing it?
So we actually weren't in the parks when we bought it. We just, we bought it in September. So we were still at home. We hadn't been to Disney since we last went before COVID. But we knew we had wanted to do it for a while. And luckily, since my family had DVC, I had a pretty good background. So I just called their sales number directly and, got in conversation with one of their sales reps.
Well, and Copper Creek was almost full too, so it was a good time to buy it.
Yeah, so Copper Creek was, when we signed up, I think it was close to 90% capacity.
Yeah.
And that's when they pretty much will shut it off because DVC keeps a percentage of that for themselves. They don't completely book out that resort for membership, DVC membership, which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Are you planning on, or have you gone on any family trips?
So we went, our most recent trip was November, and then we're also, just this week, we booked another last minute trip. We're going to go the last week of January.
Oh, this is with your parents also? So everybody goes?
Oh, actually, so the November trip, my parents came with us last minute, but January, it's just going to be Derek and I. As soon as we booked the November trip, I was telling my mom, I was like, I might be crazy, but I'm thinking about booking a Disney trip. Am I being insane? And she was like, I want to book a Disney trip. I'm going. So we all ended up going together. Our trips overlapped. My parents were actually already planning to go in November. And then when COVID happened, they canceled. And then when we signed on to DVC, we booked our November trip. And then my mom said, oh, well, if you guys are going, I guess we can go.
And you're like, sure, why not? We'll just all go.
Yeah, it was fun, though.
So since you've been a member, before we actually get to your trip, I'm just curious, do you guys usually stay in studios or one bedrooms? What kind of rooms do you get?
Yeah, we do studios because it's just two of us, so it saves us points and it's plenty of space for us.
Tell me about your most recent trip then. How'd that go? How'd you start off the trip?
It was good. So we did one night at Animal Kingdom. So our first day we checked into Animal Kingdom. Originally, I was going to do the full trip at Animal Kingdom, but then I was researching and found out that a lot of their restaurants are shut down right now. And this was our first trip where we did no parks, and that was a decision we made just because of COVID. I know a lot of people are in the parks right now, and they're reporting back that everything, they're having good experiences, but we were still a little hesitant about it, so we just chose to do a resort-only stay. So we were booked at Animal Kingdom, and once I saw that a lot of stuff was closed there, I was like, maybe we should pick a different resort for the rest of our time just so we have more dining options, since we knew we weren't going to be in the parks and whatnot. So we checked into Animal Kingdom, and I hadn't stayed there in a really long time, probably since I was in high school. Derek had never stayed there, and we booked a Savannah view room for the one night, and that resort is just so beautiful, and we stayed in a Studio Jumbo house, and it was super nice, very spacious, and loved having the views of the animals. It was amazing.
We've always talked about the Animal Kingdom being a great resort for a non-park stay. But like you said, if the dining's not there, that kind of throws a wrench in your plans.
Yeah, and I was definitely, even just after the first night when we flew in, we went over to the pool to get just like a quick lunch because we had dining reservations at Trattoria Al Forno that night, and we went to the pool bar, which was pretty much the only thing that was open. They had 3 options for food: a tuna salad sandwich, a chicken Caesar salad, and a turkey sandwich. And they literally just pulled it out of the fridge, and they were all like $13 or something outrageous like that.
So not the most magical dining experience.
Right. So I was like, okay, this kind of solidifies my choice to move resorts. I'm glad that we're moving.
Okay, so you stayed there for one day. Were you able to swim at all? Was it warm enough?
It was. We didn't swim the first day, but we did once we moved to Wilderness Lodge.
Tell me about your Wilderness Lodge portion of the trip.
Yeah, so first night we did Trattoria Al Forno, which that was really good. I had never been there. And Derek suggested we get the cheesy garlic bread, which was a special. Highly recommended. It was so good.
I didn't suggest, I insisted.
You insisted, yes.
Derek's like, I know what's good, and it's garlic on bread.
It was awesome.
Oh my gosh. That probably was my favorite thing I ate on the trip. It was basically a giant garlic knot stuffed with mozzarella cheese, topped with Parmesan.
Oh, yeah.
And they served it on top of a puddle of warm marinara sauce.
It was good.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. And when we were there and we saw all these garlic knots, the cheesy garlic bread just flying out the window to all the tables.
I'm sorry, I lost focus at garlic. Was that like an appetizer or a dinner?
I mean, it could have been my dinner. It was huge.
Yeah.
It was an appetizer. It was a special, so I don't know if they have it all the time, but
It was like the size of a softball. It was pretty big.
Wow.
it was really big.
Wow, fantastic. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but man, garlic, bread, butter, sauce.
So good. So it was really good. And that was our first time at that restaurant. It was really quiet. It was nice. I was really surprised, and I actually didn't know that they were doing this, but at all the restaurants at Disney right now, they're taking your temperature before you even enter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was that was good to see, and we got used to that like very quickly. So the next day we moved to Wilderness Lodge, and it was really exciting. Again, I hadn't stayed at Wilderness Lodge in a really long time, and the resort is just so beautifully themed. And you said of the two resorts, you liked Wilderness better than Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, Wilderness Lodge is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we just like the theming. I love Animal Kingdom, but I really love the theming and the lobby at Wilderness Lodge.
Was it decorated for Christmas when you were there? I forget your exact timeline.
The day after we left, it was.
I'm
Oh,
so bitter.
oh no.
And that was partially why we wanted to do Wilderness Lodge as well, because we know that the lobby is so beautifully decorated there. And we left on the 11th, November 11th, and my mom texted me the next day, and she's like, "You're not going to believe it. The Christmas tree is up in the lobby."
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know.
You're checking out, you're passing them, rolling in all the Christmas decorations.
Right. So she sent us lots of pictures and it was beautiful, but I was glad they were able to see it since they were still there. So yeah, we checked into Wilderness Lodge, and that day was a pretty chill day. We stayed at Boulder Ridge because that's all they had available for our days since we booked it so last minute. And the room was nice. I think it was a little bigger than the Animal Kingdom room.
It was bigger, but it wasn't updated at all.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually looked it up because I was curious, because we felt like the Boulder Ridge room wasn't as updated as the Animal Kingdom Lodge Dumbo House studio.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed in a studio for Wilderness Lodge as well. And it looks like they refurbed in 2017 when they did Copper Creek. But I think when you just look at the Copper Creek rooms compared to the Boulder Ridge rooms, they don't even compare.
Oh, that could be right, yes.
Copper Creek is so much more updated.
Wow.
Yeah, and so my parents they were able to get Copper Creek for their days, so it was nice because we got to go see both of those rooms and compare them.
Yeah, their room was super nice right by the pool, and our room was like right at the very end of the hallway next to the dumpsters outside.
The famed dumpster view.
It was a quick walk to everything.
He's like not kidding. It was funny. We went from Savannah View, Animal Kingdom, and we walked out on our balcony at Boulder Ridge, and we literally had a view of the dumpsters.
Oh, did you take any pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to send a couple to me for the show. Oh, so what else did you do at the resort since you didn't go into the parks?
So we definitely took advantage of the pool, and it was nice. Wilderness Lodge, they have two really big, nice pools. The first day, we went over to Geyser Point, which was really close to where our room was, and I think that was the highlight of Derek's trip.
Oh, yeah.
Derek liked the Geyser Point?
Geyser Point was awesome.
What'd you get there?
I got the bison burger and the waffle fries, and this might be borderline sacrilege, but their waffle fries were probably better than Chick-fil-A's.
Wow.
Yeah, they were good. They were
That's
really
good. And the bison burger?
A really good burger, and it was really cheap compared to the rest of the food at all the other places we ate the whole trip.
Really? What kind of stuff do they put on their bison burger there?
I think it's bison.
It had some type of cheese on it.
I was just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah, it's lettuce, tomato, cheese, bison burger. The waffle fries were breaded.
They were in like a cornmeal batter and deep fried.
Really?
Yeah, it was very interesting, but they were really, really good.
Yeah, they were really good.
And what's surprising is I thought Geyser Point was a table service meal restaurant, and I was actually on Disney Dining yesterday, and it's a quick service.
Yes, but they have so many tables there. It does feel like a table service. I can see that.
Yeah, and it's just the environment and atmosphere is a lot nicer than your standard quick service because it's outside, it's overlooking Bay Lake, they have nice little lounge areas and couches.
It's all about debit card incident.
Oh, yeah, and we had a really nice cast member help us at Geyser Point because Derek had left his debit card behind. We went to the pool, and then we went back to our room after the pool, and we realized he didn't have his debit card. And I said, I wonder if you left it at Geyser Point. And we went back thinking that it probably would have been long gone. Mm-hmm. And they're not using the leather books for your bills right now when you pay. Mm-hmm. They're using paper ones so they can just throw it away. So we put our debit card in the little paper sleeve for him to run our credit card. And we were like, hey, we don't know if we left our debit card here. Could you check? And he literally dug through the garbage. He was like, I'm pretty sure I gave it back to you, but let me go check. And we literally see him pull the garbage can from behind the bar, take it back to the kitchen, and he's like rummaging through the trash. And he did find our debit card.
Wow. Had you waited, you could have just picked up in the dumpster right next to your room.
Right. Exactly. We would have been out there the next morning rummaging through the dumpsters.
Oh, look at that Disney service. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was great, though. So we did Geyser Point. We definitely spent a lot of time at the pool. And that night, we headed over to the Contemporary Resort. It was nice having the boat at Wilderness Lodge. So we just took the boat over to the Contemporary. It actually dropped us off at Magic Kingdom because they're not running the boat to Contemporary right now from Wilderness Lodge. And then we walked over there, and we had dinner at the Wave for the first time.
Oh, how'd you enjoy the Wave?
It was really nice. We love California Grill, and that was our restaurant we did on our last trip. We tried for the first time, and we couldn't get it for this one because it was so last minute. So we're like, let's check out the Wave because I've only ever heard really good things about it. The food was really good. I had a steak, which was good. And then what did you have there?
It was something on top of cheese grits. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah, that was like the pork really belly on top of cheese grits.
That was it, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, the grits were really good. And my family's from the South, and I can vouch those were really good cheese grits.
Derek, how was it for you?
Oh, it was awesome, man. I thought the inside of the restaurant would be a little different. We walked down the tunnel, and it looked like, you're in like an aquarium or something. You walk through this really cool bar, and then you just go to like an average-looking dining room. I thought the dining room would be a little more themed, but the food was awesome.
Awesome. So would you go back to the Wave? Would you make that a regular stop on your trips?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was good. And it was definitely noisier than I expected to be. And it's funny because California Grill is usually pretty packed too. But
the table next to us had like 6 screaming kids.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll do it.
Those parents looked really tired.
I'm pretty sure the waiter just brought that lady wine and was like, here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he brought her a free glass of wine because he just felt bad for her. I think that actually happened.
Man, I can tell you need this. That's nice. Oh, did you do any Disney Springs things while you were there?
We did. Actually, the next day was the day, my parents' first full day. So we met them in Disney Springs, and we did some shopping, and we had lunch at Art Smith's Homecoming.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. What'd you guys get?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I love that place. So I got the braised short ribs, which were so incredibly good.
That's enough food for 3 people.
Yeah, I wish that we had shared it because it was so much food. And then what did you get there?
I think I got a sandwich, some kind of club sandwich.
A chicken club or something like that. And then we got appetizers. We got the cornbread hush puppies or cornbread fritters. And then we got the fried okra for an appetizer as well, which was really good.
That all sounds good. Did you try any of the moonshine there?
No, it was like noon. We weren't trying to get too turned up.
Derek's trying to pace himself.
Yeah.
Oh, did you do any shopping at Disney Springs?
We did. Luckily, it was right before Christmas, so we got some Christmas shopping done for relatives back home. And then we hit a lot of stores. It did start to get pretty crowded around, 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
And then we kind of got out of Dodge because, just trying to avoid crowds as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt like Disney Springs didn't feel as regulated as some as the Disney resorts for capacity.
Well, you yelled at your dad for taking his mask down for 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that did happen. My dad actually was taking a work call while we were at Disney Springs that day, and so he stepped aside and sat at a table, and no one was really around him. And so he took his mask off so he could take his call, and a cast member of it might have been security, came up and told him to put his mask back on, which, they have to do that.
Right.
They were right on it, right away.
They were really on top of it, but overall I felt like the cast members were really good about it. I remember there was a couple times we would be at a restaurant and I would get up to use the restroom and I would just completely forget because you're sitting at the table with no mask on. And especially since I'm working from home right now, I'm just so used to walking around my house with no mask on.
Mm-hmm.
But they had they were really polite about it. And they had even certain hand gestures to kind of remind you to put it back on without having to tell you to put it back on, which was good.
That's nice. Just a little attention getter for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was Disney Springs decorated for Christmas? Did you see any Christmas decorations while you were there hoping to see some? Or did you miss it all by a day?
We did. So luckily Disney Springs was decorated and we saw their Christmas tree and they had Christmas music playing and all that stuff, which was really nice to be there. It was such a treat to just go shopping for a day because we've really hunkered down when we're at home and have avoided malls. So it was really nice to spend the day there.
So when you left Disney Springs, where'd you go? What'd you do?
That night, we actually went right over to Old Key West, and we had dinner at Olivia's.
Oh, Olivia's. I love Old Key West.
I know, me too. I have really fond memories of Old Key West because my family and I would stay there a lot when we were growing up, and I think that might have been your first time over there.
Yeah, it's the first time I've been there. Their fish and chips was good.
Yeah, and then it was the buttermilk fried chicken.
Really good.
Was really good.
We really didn't have any bad food at all.
We had no bad food. It was a really solid trip. I think we gained a lot of pounds when we returned home.
Yeah.
Well, from there, you're just going back home anyway, so.
Right. But it was really nice. And Olivia's, I feel like, is a hidden gem in Disney. I hadn't been there in so long. And it's just really laid back and casual. And it's a nice change of pace.
I've heard that about Olivia's, what you just said, being a hidden gem. And I've also heard people rave about the chicken there also.
Yeah, it was my first time having it. It was really good. I would definitely get it again if we went back.
Did you take the boat over there from Disney Springs?
So it actually wasn't running when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
I know several of their boats are not running right now just with COVID, and that was one of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we just took a bus over from Disney Springs.
Did we Uber or take a bus?
I'm pretty sure we took a bus. Remember, because we waited for a while. We just missed the Old Key West bus.
Oh, right.
And then we had to sit around for a little bit, but then I think we Ubered back from Old Key West to Wilderness Lodge.
Yep.
Can I ask what an Uber runs now between those two?
It wasn't much. Everything was I don't know, between $8 and $14 the whole trip. We didn't really spend much on Ubers.
Okay. I know it was very inexpensive. People were talking about it for a while, but I've not heard recently. And
Orlando does have Uber Pet now too. I was fascinated by this.
Oh, really?
Uber Pet, you can bring your pet with you.
Really?
It's a separate thing on the app, yeah.
I didn't even know they had such a thing. I barely knew there were Uber Eats.
We use Uber Eats quite a bit.
Where else did you go on the trip? Did you do any more shopping? More dining? I always like to hear about dining.
It was nice. We did a lot of resort hopping. Actually, the next day we hit up the Resort Loop. And we started off at the Contemporary. It was my parents' last day. They stayed one night, Bay Lake Tower. So we met them on their last day there before they moved over to Wilderness Lodge. And we had breakfast at Chef Mickey's. And we hit the gift shop at the Contemporary, which I forgot how big the gift shop at the Contemporary is. It's so nice.
Mm-hmm. Usually we go to the Player One bar, but we couldn't really do that this trip. That's my favorite place.
Oh yeah, that's not a Disney establishment though.
Yeah, I know.
It's fun though. I found out about that place in my college program, but they have all these really cool old arcade games. It's off property.
Where's this at? Tell me about this.
It's right over. Isn't it in the main shopping area? Like right.
I think it's near Buffalo Wild Wings.
I think it's over by that Buffalo Wild Wings.
Is that near Crosswinds? I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like that area.
Fantastic. And what do they do there again? I'm sorry.
That's like our Disney tradition. She goes to the park for 6 days, and I get to go to the Player One bar for like an hour and a half. But it's a bar with all these really cool like arcade games from the early 90s. Just
like
all these old
Pac-Man.
arcade games. Yeah.
Yes.
It's super fun.
We have something similar around here. I think it's called the 8-bit bar, possibly. Something, similar kind of thing. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but they have like their own beers and stuff there. But we didn't go this time because of COVID.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Just on property. But yeah, so we did Chef Mickey's, which that was my first time doing Chef Mickey's with no characters, so that was interesting.
Was it table service then? I mean, it wasn't a buffet then.
Yeah, so it was table service and it was served family style.
Family style. And how was it?
It was good. Our expectations were kind of low because I hadn't been to Chef Mickey's in years, and I wasn't really sure, since it wasn't a character meal, how it was going to be, but the food was really good. They had all your standard stuff: Mickey waffles, eggs, bacon, sausage. They had these delicious little French toast sticks that were funfetti, so they had sprinkles in them.
The food was really good. It was just really expensive for what it was.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And I think it was discounted. It wasn't as expensive as it would have been with characters, but...
The breakfast at Wilderness Lodge was better at that place.
Oh, yeah, because we had breakfast at Whispering Canyon also, and we preferred the breakfast at Whispering Canyon over Chef Mickey's.
Oh, I can see that, though.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then that day, the monorail's not running to the Poly right now. So I think we took the monorail from Contemporary to TTA, and then we walked over to Poly.
We sprint walked because it was in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Oh, yeah. We got to TTA and the sky turned black, and we were like, we've got to go. So we're basically sprinting over the Poly, trying to get over into the main lobby area. And I think we almost made it.
We were pretty close.
We were pretty close. We got a little wet, but it wasn't that bad. But yeah, it was nice because we weren't doing the parks. We really just took advantage of spending other time at the resorts and exploring, and pretty much hit all the gift shops at Poly and Grand Floridian. We checked out the new Be Our Guest bar in the Grand Floridian. They weren't open when we were there, but they actually had it open so you could walk through it. I think it's called the Enchanted Rose.
Yes.
So it was really beautiful inside. So that's definitely a place I'd like to check out in the future.
Awesome. Was there any unique holiday merchandise that you had to buy or should have bought?
I bought a DVC holiday t-shirt, and then I also bought a holiday spirit jersey. And I think I bought pajamas too.
Yeah, she bought a lot of Christmas themed stuff.
Did Derek buy anything?
Did you buy anything?
I bought some stuff at the Under Armour store in Disney Springs, but that wasn't like Christmas themed.
Yeah, I don't think he bought any Disney merch.
Nah.
We did a lot of resort hopping that day, and then we headed back to Wilderness Lodge and regrouped. My parents checked into their room at Copper Creek, so we got to check out their room. It was super nice, super bright. Everything was updated. So we're definitely looking forward to staying there in the future. And then that night, we actually went to Whispering Canyon for dinner, and we were already full, and then we were just even more full after dinner there.
But they let you split the all-you-can-eat thing as long as you don't get any refills, I guess, on it. So we just shared that for dinner.
Yeah, they were being very accommodating. I don't think they were supposed to do that. We basically were so full from lunch because we had, breakfast. We had Chef Mickey's, and they had the all-you-can-eat skillets with the barbecue, and we're like, can we just share one, Derek and I? And she was like, yeah, we're not really supposed to let you do this, but as long as you don't get refills, I'll do it for you.
Right.
So they were really nice. It was good.
We're happy you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually we walk 30,000 steps a day at the park and we're fine, but
That was an adjustment because usually we don't feel that guilty for all the food we eat in Disney because
Right.
we're walking so much. But since it was resort stay, we weren't really
prepared.
trekking through the parks the entire day.
So what would you rate this trip? Non-parks, a lot of resort hopping. Would you suggest other people do it as well?
It was definitely more relaxing. There was no fast-paced wake up for rope drop, sprint to the first ride you're going on. It was pretty relaxed.
Yeah, and I mean, we are a rope drop family. Like, when we go to Disney, we go hard. We're up for early magic hours. We're at rope drop. We usually will stay pretty much the entire day. And if for some reason we don't, we always come back and close the park. So it was definitely very different. And I was a little nervous that I was going to miss the parks a lot and it wasn't going to be the same. But it honestly was great. And there was only, when we were dropped off at Magic Kingdom that one night to go to the wave, I was kind of like, oh man, I wish we were going inside. That was really the only time, though, that I missed it.
Right.
Yeah, we were out front, and you were like, can we go in real quick? And I was like, well, there's Mickey bars over here, so we'll go this way.
But yeah, it was definitely eye-opening to go there for a resort-only stay, and I agree, it was really relaxing. And it's nice to be able to kind of stop and pause and enjoy the resorts, because there's so much at the resorts that they have to offer that sometimes you miss out on when you're at the parks all the time.
I don't know if you guys have ever done a Disney cruise, but your vacation pacing sounds very similar to a Disney cruise. There's no real rush to get up, plenty of places to walk and see things, and plenty of options to eat. And you actually, leave that vacation well rested. Have you ever done a Disney cruise?
No, we haven't. I would love to go on one eventually.
We'll probably hold off until all the coronavirus stuff is over.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's so crazy that the cruise industry, I mean, it'll be interesting when they reopen how that goes.
It is. I'm hoping we're going to hear some news here, hopefully in the next couple weeks, as to what the Disney Cruise Line's plans are. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting for a little bit, but gives us something to look out for.
Exactly. But overall, it was a good trip. And then one thing we did DVC related while we were there was we toured the Cascade Cabins at Wilderness Lodge.
The Cascade, tell me about the Cascade Cabin.
It was really nice. So we pretty much, if you're there and you're a DVC member, you can just go up to the DVC stand within the resort and request a tour. And so we walked over there, and they're letting one family in at a time with COVID, which is really nice. But those cabins were beautiful. I mean, they had their own fireplace, their own hot tub that overlooked Bay Lake.
If you're going to stay in one, though, I wouldn't have I wouldn't want to go to the parks because it would just be like a waste of a really nice room. Gotcha.
You're spending a lot for a room you're not in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful. The kitchen's beautiful, multiple rooms. They're priced out at 87 DVC points a night. So
wow.
Very steep.
Wow.
Very steep.
Oh, that is. So did you buy more points while you were there then?
Derek, I tried to get you to buy more points.
Yeah, we called Amex and froze the credit card before she could do that.
Oh, look at that.
No, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good with the amount of points we have for a while.
Yeah, we'll be good for a while.
Can I ask how many you have?
It was a nice first DVC trip for sure.
Nice. Can I ask how many points you have?
So we have 100, and that was also part of the reason why we bought when we did, because we heard rumors that they were going to increase the point minimum to 125.
They did, right after.
And they did. When I first started the conversation with the sales guide, he was like, yeah, now's a really good time to buy because October 1st, the point minimum is going to go up to 125. So we literally got in right before they increased it.
Nice. And you're right. This is a good amount of points for you guys, since you said you usually do studios.
Yeah. So I think it'll work out really well.
Yeah, we'll be good for a while.
Nice.
You can only buy more points. That's no big deal.
Exactly. And now we bought direct the first time so we could get all the benefits of being a DVC member. And if we ever wanted to add on more points in the future, we might consider a resale contract since we have the baseline benefits.
Right. You got it all planned out. You nailed it.
She has a spreadsheet. It's pretty good.
Well, Brittany, Derek, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Oh, I hope you contact me when you have another trip. I'd love to hear about your other trips.
Yeah, we will definitely reach out to you. We're going in a couple weeks.
Oh, nice. Where are you going? Where are you staying?
So we are going to stay at Saratoga Springs.
Ooh, I've been there. I like it over there.
Yeah, it's really quiet. It'll be nice.
Brittany and Derek, if somebody wants to reach out to you, where can they reach out to you somewhere?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram and YouTube, just Brittany Eichelman. And I actually post our Disney videos on my YouTube channel if anyone wants to check them out.
Awesome. I'll put that link in the show notes. How about that?
Perfect.
Excellent. Brittany, Derek, once again, thanks for joining me. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a little YouTube channel going on over there. If you're thinking of booking a trip, you can always check out ResortLoop.com. Everybody, thanks for joining us. You've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic. Take us out, guys.
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoop.com.